As we go to air tonight, the United States of America is unravelling for all the world to see as race riots leave many of the nation's biggest cities burning in almost unimaginable scenes. Across the country, police are in the line of fire, facing the rage of protesters. The wave of violence has now washed across 29 cities, from New York, Los Angeles, New Orleans, Seattle and Minneapolis.
Overnight, more rage and destructions in cities across the West. On Sunday, angry mobs ignored mandatory curfews, violently clashing with police, overturning cars, torching buildings, and looting stores. In the shadow of Santa Monica's iconic Pier and 3rd Street promenade, the mayhem unfolded for hours. Some peacefully protested, hands up, hands up, hands up. Others provoked a confrontation.
Police here are now pushing forward. They're moving all of these protesters back.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The interim president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything.
Are you guys aware there's like 30 years of civil war going on all across America?
Just try to stay out with what we see on the news. Seems like it's for the best.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for watching. Hope you liked my quasi-dystopian intro there. It's using some cool footage from somewhere nearby, right? If you know this place, then you know what that is. But anyway, wanted to do a video on, I guess, we know where we're at this year, right? At the beginning of the year, I changed the channel to be more in line with like the Minuteman stuff. And this is not a Minuteman channel per se. I don't get into like the deep cuts of Minutemaning, like storing food and bushcrafting and all that stuff. And there's some of that somewhere on the channel from yesteryear. But really I'm looking at it like, where are we now since January? And, you know, we get in those monthly training dates for Lucky twice a month. And so kind of wanted to review, you know, our journey so far. I would say it's been some ups and downs, right? One big thing is that we picked up on this year is the scramblers, right? What's scrambler? It's kind of ambiguous, right? Mixed distance, mixed position, mixed firing, order, cadence, etc. It's basically a scrambler can be what you want. It's like a mini course of fire. And thus it is a performance on demand concept, right? Like you have to bring everything you have already and perform and do the scrambler. In that, you do not build skill, you only see failure points. Now, if you spend too much time doing scramblers, right, it's cool and it's fun and it's LARPy, but it really does not allow you to progress. So coming up in May, we're taking a step back from the scramblers and we're getting back into some foundational stuff that, you know, I was working with Jason on for the past couple of years, your up drills, transitions and whatnot. And one thing he and I worked on really was getting the speed component, but the internet is full of Speedy Gonzalez's, but it's like, hey, show your hits. And if they don't show their hits, then I'm not impressed, right? If you can shoot fast and you can get good hits and it's measurable, that's actually impressive. If you can do all that stuff on the move or at night on the move, now I'm impressed. And so what I want to do is kind of spend some time on this foundational skills. And, you know, I've also had an increase in training buddies, right? I invite friends and to come touch grass with me, as they say on the interwebs, and they've come out, and I'm pretty happy. It's taken me a little bit to kind of adapt to that, right? Because you got more logistics. We do have a variety of skill sets, and in that variety, we do have to say, hey, do we dumb down the training to the lowest common denominator? Or do we try to push the more inexperienced shooters to catch up and elevate? And I think it's somewhere in between. I would err on the side of getting folks to elevate their skill to catch up, right? Versus dumbing things down to lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator, it doesn't promote growth or success from the group as a whole, and especially on the individual level. Last year, I spent a lot of time coaching during our range sessions, and I really didn't get to shoot a lot. And that's one of the things I also changed is, hey, I'm going to be doing these drills. I'm going to coach you individually. I might not spend time on a video, or I might put a little spot segment within a video, but it's up to you to do your homework. It's up to you to figure out what you're doing wrong. I'm giving you the tools. There's plenty of resources out there besides me at higher levels. You got to put it together just like I do. So, well, I wish I could, shoot every week or every other day or whatever. I don't. And so I have to focus my once a month training to be something that is structured and productive and also fun, right? So where are we at in May? We're taking a back seat, or rather the scramblers are taking a back seat, and we're going to more fundamental training, and I'm going to go back over some other items, particularly movement like 101, right? Shooting, then moving to another spot, then shooting is relatively easy. The hardest part is being explosive, being quick, and not being afraid of doing that, and ideally not injuring yourself, right? So you take that component of like the PT stuff, and that's something you do separately. You don't do PT on the range, you PT on your own, and then you bring that into the shooting range, and where you just work on your shooting, and then the physical ability will manifest because you've already worked on that, right? So, but to shoot on the move while you are moving, while you're shooting, is much more difficult, right? Especially if you have high shot accountability, right? Anybody can just blast somewhere on the steel, big ass plate at 10 yards, or shooting like somewhere on the cardboard. No one cares about that. That's not impressive. If you can stick in the A zone or a head box or a very small plate while you shoot on the move, laterally especially, that's impressive. When you start getting away from forward and back movement and start moving more left to right and diagonals, like that is much more difficult, especially going different directions based on what hand you shoot with, right? If you're a right-handed shooter trying to track left laterally, that's difficult because you got to rotate your torso and you have to make some adjustments. You're not always going to be super comfortable. And ideally, if you have a shooting structure built, right, that might break a little bit, right, whether you want to or not. Ideally, you try to keep it the same throughout, but sometimes that gets changed. My birthday is next weekend. May the 4th be with you. I've got a tentative range date set for Sunday, and I'll have some more content with that. We're going to go back to some foundational shooting. It's still going to be as fast and accurate as possible. And then I'm going to introduce some of these guys on some of the lateral movement 101, and get them introduced to that. And we'll see what else pops up, where this applies. It applies really in the context of like, when I quote CQB, right? It's like, moving within a room or a building, or within realistically more like a courtyard around a building or home or something, right? Is where you're going to be shooting on the move. These ranges within maybe even 100 yards, but can you shoot on the move at 100 yards and hit a target? And so anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, I appreciate the subscriptions and likes and all that. I'll see you in the next video, and have a safe week.